Hello friends, this is my second video and we are studying the tips for success in mathematics. In the first video, I have explained how to prepare when we are at school, when we are attending a class. Why I am saying or why I am explaining this is because once you know how to study math, once you know the method of studying math, once you organize yourself, then it solves at least 50% of your problems. Because I have seen a lot of times that when people are not organized, when they do not know the method of studying mathematics, they find it very difficult to study math and they start hating math. So in order not to have those kind of problems, this is very important once when you know how to study mathematics at school, at home, and how you prepare for the exam. So this is in this one we are going to see how we prepare at home, right? The first thing is do the homework regularly. Whatever teacher has given you the homework, do it regularly when you go home in the evening after the school. And while doing the homework, refer to your class notes and whatever notes you have made, and refer to your textbook also. Second problem is list all the difficulties with page numbers. While doing all these examples, you will have certain difficulties. Somewhere you will have a conceptual difficulty or you have some other mistakes. So, what I will say, write down all these difficulties with example number, page number, and chapter number in a separate notebook. Make a list of all this so that it will be very easy for you to ask your teacher or your tutor, and it will reduce your time, because I have seen a lot of people will be flipping pages one after the other to find where they have difficulties, and in that they waste a lot of time. So by listing all the difficulties with page number, with example number, and the chapter number, we reduce that time of asking the tutor and teacher. All right. Third point is do not keep for the next day. A lot of people do half of the homework and then they will say, okay, the remaining part I will do the next day or the day after. But I will say, do not do that. Spend your time maximum in seeing that you finish your homework on the same day, because if you keep it for the next day or the day after, you will have more homework coming up from the other subjects, and then the homework will pile up, and then it will be very difficult for you to do. I mean, you will feel which homework shall I do now first, right? So I will say, do not keep anything for the next day. The fourth one is, while doing all the examples, you will have to remember the formulas and the basic rules. Now, this is very important because if you do not know the formulas, if you have not understood the basic rules, you will not be able to solve the examples. Because sometimes you have to make the strategy, how I am going to solve this example, which formula I should use first, or which basic rule I should use first, which I should use second, and how I prepare my strategy so that I can come to the final answer correctly. And for this, you have to remember the formulas and the basic rules. One of the method of doing this is, which I was also doing, that you make a separate notebook where you will write all the basic formulas, basic rules, chapter wise, and update it as you go on to the next chapter or to the next grade, and update all the basic rule, basic formulas. Even if I will say, even if you have passed grade 12, when you are going to the university, this will help you, and it will help you also while you are doing a job. So keep this book, I will say, for the lifetime, because many times we will forget the rules. And one of the method of remembering the rules is sit down in a separate and quiet room. Ask yourself, do I remember this formula? Do I remember this basic rule? And then you will see whether you remember it or not. If you don't remember, then it tells you have to go back and read your notebook again. Because once we pass the grade, in whatever grade we are, then many people do not keep book with them. I will say keep the book also and keep this notebook also, and that will help you in remembering all these rules. So I will say once in a while, like twice in a week, do this exercise of remembering the rules, and if you don't remember, go and read your notebook, and that will make you remember the rules and basic formulas very easily, and I'm sure you will not forget it afterwards. The next point is, do all the examples from the exercise after the end of every chapter. Many people do not do every example from the book, and sometimes they do on a piece of paper and then throw it away. I say don't do that. Write down all these examples, put them on in a notebook, or if you have written on a separate pages, separate sheets, put them in a binder and save this for your final exam. Because when you have a final exam, you won't have time day before the final exam to do every example. So if you have all these examples documented properly in a binder or in a notebook, then it will be very easy to refer to all these examples, because you have problems on one side from the book, you have solution on one side in your binder or in your notebook, and that will help you to remember and to understand everything the day before the exam, and you can finish it you can go through the whole course very fast, and that will really helps you in exam. The last point is, and which I have seen many students don't do that. So that is when they and they have asked me a lot of times, when they have the final exam, they will tell me, I have forgotten the first 3 or 4 chapters. Now, to go through all those 3 and 4 chapters, do every example is going to be very difficult, like say 1 week before the test, because then you do not have time, you have other subjects to prepare also. So, what I will say, every week, try to go back to the previous chapters, their formulas and their basic rules from the previous chapters. Do so, open up the book, go to the previous chapter. For example, let's say we go to chapter 2. Open up the book, go to the chapter 2, take any example from the book and see whether you can do that example. If you can do that, that is fine, but if you cannot, that tells you that you have forgotten this. So, and maybe you have forgotten the formula, or maybe you have forgotten the basic rule. So that gives you some time to again refresh whatever you have forgotten, whatever you have not understood, and that saves a lot of time, and you feel very confident when you go for the final exam. So I will say this is how you basically prepare mathematics at home. I hope you must have understood, and that is how I was also preparing when I was in school or I was in college. Okay, thanks. Have a nice day.